Hello everyone and welcome to Stan the Wine Man TV. I am your host, Stan Rattan, and this is the Blue Collar Wine Show where I try to help you spend your wine dollars wisely. I am devising a way to remember things. I told you in the last episode, 278, this is 279, second episode of 2016. By the way, thanks for your support, thanks for watching. It's amazing to me. This amazes me. My mind goes all over the place, right? No wonder I forget things. It amazes me that I can have one video that'll do like 82 views, which I know is small potatoes. Some of you guys get like over 1,000. I mean, I'm hoping someday to get there. But you know what? A person that I have a lot of respect for did a video one time and he said 1 is better than 0. And so whether it's 82 views or 4 views, I really appreciate you taking the time to watch these videos, and hopefully you're learning something, not just learning to find great values in wine, but learning a little bit about wine as we go along. And that's really my motive for this, is to really try and help you understand some of the basics of wine, of tasting and things like that. But I said in my last video, at the end of the video, I'd give my prediction for the Seahawks Minnesota Vikings, and I failed to do it. So I'm just going to start right away. I got my Earl Thomas III jersey on, and I'm telling you, Seahawks 31, Minnesota Vikings 17. That's the way I see it. And I'm very excited about the the playoffs. I really think that Seattle has a chance to go to the Super Bowl again. They have a little bit of a tough road to go, but I think they have a good chance of getting there. In the last episode, we talked about blends, their popularity, and we talked about Southern Rhone and the GSM blends, Grenache, Syrah, Mourvedre. That's what GSM stands for. And a lot of the New World wines that are GSM blends that people like a lot. And then they, kind of avoid going to the Minervois, going to Languedoc, going to Southern Rhone, Côte de Rhone, Châteauneuf-du-Pape, those types of wines, because it doesn't always say what's in the wine. Basically, they're GSM blends. So hopefully you walked away from that video with that in your back pocket. Now we're going to go to some interesting blends, two Old World, 2 New World. And we talked a little bit about Old World, and just a reminder, the main Old World wines that you'll run across are from Spain, Italy, France, and Germany. Those are the ones, if you just kind of lock those 4 in, there's more, but just kind of lock those 4 in, you've got the idea of Old World. The New World, of course, is Australia, South Africa, Argentina, Chile, the United States. Kind of keep those in mind when you're thinking New World. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at blends. Again, I said we're going to do 2 episodes on blends. We're going to look at blends from Italy. Once again, we're going to go to Roussillon in southern France, right above Spain. Then we'll do two Washington blends. And once again, I just want to thank the vendors that provide these samples so that I can do these episodes. I really, really appreciate it. And that being said, I have used my wines that I have purchased in this show many, many times. But in this particular instance, I don't think I purchased any of these. There you go. All right. 2013 Monferrato Rosso by Kermit Lynch. And it's Tenuto Le Pergola 2013. Monferrato is the region, and it's just northeast of where they the land of Barolo in the Piedmont, Italy. All right, give a little rinse. Why do we rinse our glass? Well, just in case you didn't rinse it good enough. Your dishwasher didn't work good enough. You didn't rinse it good enough while you were cleaning it. All right. This is a blend of, get this, Barbera, Bonarda, Freisa, Croatina, and Dolcetto. Whew. By the way, I want to apologize for the last episode. I'm not apologizing. I'm just going to say you may have noticed that the camera wasn't set up exactly the way I wanted to, so I had trouble zooming in. I fixed that. Okay, Kermit Lynch, we talked a little bit about him. This is $18, by the way. We talked a little bit about Kermit Lynch. He is a fairly famous importer of wines, and he has a very good palate. So if you see Kermit Lynch on the back of the label, you can be fairly confident that you're getting a decent wine. All right, let's see what we get on the nose. That blend just blows me away. How many of you heard of Fresa or, well, Bonarda? I really like Bonarda out of Argentina. Or Cortina and, well, Dolcetto. Barbera you're probably familiar with. Wow, this smells dirty. This smells like somebody, you know, you got a little pie tin, you threw some, you know, pine needles and some little bit of fresh dirt in there, and then you squeeze some currant juice and some cherry juice in there. Maybe threw a dash of tobacco. That's what I'm getting. And then just a splash of rocks. And a little bit of leather. Pretty interesting nose, by the way. Once again, and I really want to focus in 2016 on wine education with these videos, along with reviewing these wines, and why it is very important to smell it. Look at the color. Color is very important. I don't do that as much in the videos. I do look at the color. I don't acknowledge it all the time. But this is like medium dark. I really enjoy that part of it. But smelling the wine is a key to enjoying it. And I did a class. I've done a couple of wine classes, but the last one I did, I had a little outline for the actual program, and I put on there, don't you dare drink that wine before you smell it. And the reason I say that is because we all know that sense of smell enhances our sense of taste. In fact, if you didn't have a sense of smell, you wouldn't taste anything. You know that, right? I think what happens with wine, and I know, is that we just enjoy drinking it. We enjoy the flavor. What we don't realize is that that flavor becomes enhanced the more we try to smell it. I'm not expecting you to get tobacco dirt. You know, I don't expect you to go, oh, this tastes like a pie pan with dirt and currant and cherry juice and tobacco, a little leather thrown in there, and some rocks. But just try to get something out of it. And everything has to do with your association to certain things in your life that you're familiar with. I have trouble getting some. I'll smell a wine. I don't understand what I'm getting. I'm sure there's something there, and then I'll get with somebody else who gets it because they're familiar with that aroma. Maybe throughout their childhood they had those things, or maybe they just recently had those things. So that's a really key part to enjoying your wine, is to smell it. Now let's see what we get on the palate. This is high acid wine. I mean, I feel like I just sucked on a lemon. I fill my mouth with cherry juice and a little bit of currants, and then I sucked on a lemon. That's what it feels like on my palate. In fact, it's so bright, I almost can't enjoy it. That's how bright it is. Interesting. I'm getting a little, well, I get a lot of minerals. It feels like I just licked a granite stone, or maybe not granite, but slate. A little bit of clay coming through. I get a little caramel, which I find very, very peculiar. With all that acid, that kind of citrusy acid that's coming through, I get that caramel with the cranberries and the cherries coming through. Kind of interesting. a little thin on the finish. I'm a little disappointed in this wine. I don't mind, don't get me wrong, I don't mind high acid wines. I know they're a tough sell, but I have my group of homies that love higher acid wines. This needs food, no doubt about it. You can't drink this wine alone. Warning, Will Rogers, do not drink this wine by itself unless you want an acid trip. But I find it's a little thin on the finish, which I'm a little disappointed in. It's got these interesting flavors though that are lingering right on the back of the sides of my tongue. $18. Not super excited about this. I'm not, Kermit Lynch always does a really good job. I get some red flowers, like I chewed on the leaves of a red flower. It's just not exciting me. It would be good with pasta, red sauce, spaghetti, lasagna. This would be a great lasagna wine. But for $18, I'd rather spend $10. I can find you a lot of wines like this for $10. I'm gonna go C on this one. I think it's just average. It's if it were $10, I might go a little higher, but I think it's overpriced for what you're getting. Let's move on. Notre Dame de Laval, Côte de Roussanne. And we talked a little bit about Roussanne. It has now become more than just part of Languedoc. It is a region coming of its own. It is borders right on the edge of Spain. This is 25% Syrah, 30% Grenache, and 45% Carignan. Côte de Roussanne, 2013, $10. Talking about $10. There it is. That was not planned, by the way. I'd like to tell you that I had that in the back of my head, but I'd give myself way too much credit. Okay. There you go. $10. Let's give it a little rinse. By the way, Mr. Earl Thomas got a pick in the last game against Arizona. Seattle just dominated that game. Arizona didn't have a chance, and they had their starters in the first half, and that is when Seattle really took the game over. I believe it was 30 to 6 or something after the second half. This is crazy. And Arizona's like, they get a bye week in the playoffs. Anyway, I'm sure they didn't want that to happen. Good color on this wine. Excellent color, nice and dark. Let's see what we get on the nose. Getting blueberries and tar. A little bit of tobacco. A little bit of like bark, like really, 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 really dry bark. Interesting nose. I really like this. And once again, you're missing out a lot. The color on this is incredible. It's like a kind of a crimson black, purple. It's really cool. Love the color on this wine. I don't know if you can see that. Let's zoom in. So yeah, incredible color. I know it's hard to tell. Well, there you can see off that lime green. You heard it. 31-17 Hawks against the Minnesota Viking. All right, let's see what we get on the palate. I mean, I'm glad this happened. I'm glad this is behind this one because it really shows. I mean, this is a very interesting one. It's kind of polished, definitely more polished than the one from Northern Italy, which we would probably expect. It has acid on the back end, but it also has good fruit and minerality and tobacco and leather. Nice flow across the palate. Good intensity without going, it definitely is nowhere near New World. Nice long finish. Kind of I get a little bit of white pepper on the finish, which I really like. I really like the leather on the mid palate with a little bit of like rose petal mashed into the leather, and then just a skosh, you like that word? Skosh of tobacco, just a hint of tobacco. Now, when you're tasting this wine, you notice that I slosh it in my mouth. Why do I do that? I don't do that to show off. It is not part of this program. I find myself even sloshing water sometimes. I'm getting better at that, not doing that. I do that with my coffee sometimes. It has to be a little cooler, of course. But the reason we do that is it aerates the wine in your mouth. And the more you pop it around, the more you splash it around in your mouth, the more flavors you can get out of it. Now, I know some of you are self-conscious. I see people sometimes go, you know, they drip on themselves. You don't have to be that elegant about it. It is not rude to slosh your wine in your mouth. The combination of blueberries, currants, and cherries with a hint of black plum and the minerales make this a very, very interesting wine. This wine just punches that other wine in the face. It smacks it out of the park. It says, you know what? You're an idiot for spending 18 bucks on that wine when you can get this wine. Same idea, same old world, more flavor, more intensity, more complexity, 10 bucks. What can I say? I'm going to go B plus, A minus on that wine. I think it's a great bottle of wine. I'm going to seek this out. I don't know where I got this wine. I hope one of you, one of my guys or girls are watching this and saying, hey, you got it from me? It is, I don't even, imported by, I can't read that, so I'm not even going to try. The back of the label's beat up a bit. I'm going to look for this. If you are if you come into the store and visit me, ask me about this wine. I'm going to show you the label again. If you haven't seen this in the next couple of weeks, I'm not doing my job. This is an incredible $10 bottle of wine. What I need to do is figure out a way, and I'm going to do this. I'm going to figure out a way that I can link up, so if you guys want this wine, you're watching this video and you want this wine, I can send it to you. And that's really where I want to go with this. I don't want it to be a selling avenue, but if I find a wine like this, I want you guys to be able to get your hands on it. And you know, you're probably not going to find it in a Safeway, Albertsons, Fred Meyer, one of those places, but you might find it in a bottle shop, and hopefully you look for it, because that is an incredible bottle of wine for 10 bucks. Incredible. Let's move on. Now we're going New World. And we talked a lot about blends in the last episode, and blends are a huge category. I'm trying to get people to kind of switch from New World, all New World blends, and realize that some great blends in the Southern Rhone, Southern France, well, we won't go Piedmont right now, Tuscany, Bordeaux. You know, there's a lot of blends that you might be missing out on because you're just afraid. I mean, let's face it, sometimes it's tough when you're looking at labels and they don't tell you what's in it. This is Apex Cellars 2012 The Catalyst Red Blend Columbia Valley. This rolls in at $13. It is 53% Syrah, 47% Merlot. It's an interesting blend. Syrah, Merlot. Shout out to my friend Tom, who's working on his selections for a tasting I'm doing. This is one of the wines he stopped by. He gave it to me. He said, Stan, see if you think this might make the cut. Well, here we go. Once again, the color on this is incredibly dark, which you would expect out of a Syrah with the Merlot. Let's see what we get on the nose. The first thing to come to my head was chocolate. That is the first impression I got on the nose. I get chocolate, currants, just a hint of tobacco, a little bit of licorice coming through. Yeah, that's it. Let's see what we got on the palate. Good balance on this wine. Very seamless across the palate. Good intensity without going goopy fruit. I mean, this is a good structure on this wine. Good tannins, but they're well integrated with the fruit. I get the chocolate for sure comes through. A little bit of cherry fruit comes through. A little bit of blueberry action, which I didn't get on the nose. Kind of surprised me. A little blueberry and currant, cherry, big time. Finishes. Then that tobacco kind of integrates into the finish, and it gets a little bit bright. Gets a little bit of mouth-watering on the finish, but certainly not acidic. Wouldn't go there. Nicely done. This is a good bottle of wine. Now, even has just a hint of minerals. Tightens up a little bit on the back end, which I can appreciate. Good food wine. You could also go solo on this one. Not encouraging that, but you could go solo on this and have a really nice time just watching your favorite movie, playing Cards Against Humanity, whatever you're doing. Yeah, this wine rocks. This wine rocks. B plus A minus. 2 in a row. $13. Yeah, 13 bucks. Love it! Let's move on. Charles & Charles Cabernet Sauvignon Syrah. I believe it's 50-50. Washington State, which means he doesn't have a specific area. Oh, it says Columbia Valley. Washington State. Not sure why he does that. Charles Smith has become, this 2013, this rolls in at $11. Charles Beeler and Charles Smith, they work together. Charles Beeler is a marketer. Charles Smith is the, well, he's a great marketer too. But they work together on this little project. Charles & Charles. Charles Smith has become just kind of a crazy dude in Washington State. He went from restaurants to winemaker. Kay Vintners is huge. He gets a lot of good press. He's a great marketer. He does a really good job. He's a little bit of a crazy man. I have never met him. I hope to someday. He just opened a winery in Jet City near the airport down in downtown Seattle. He's done a great job marketing his wines. He makes some great wines, and he makes some not so great wines like anybody in the industry. Let's see what we get on the nose. By the way, great color on this one also, and again it's that Syrah. Syrah will do that. Syrah, Mourvedre, they have great intensity of color. This one shows that. Let's see what we get on the nose. Once again, same thing, get chocolate right off the bat. That's my first impression, and a lot of currants. I get some interesting earth notes on this one, which kind of surprises me. Little perfume action coming through, meaning that the scents are lifted a little bit. That makes sense to you? Hopefully it does. A little tobacco coming through. Let's see what we get on the palate. The apex, you can tell slightly the difference in between the apex and the cab and the Merlot difference in these blends. This one is ramped up on the currants big time. Get a lot of ripe currants on this one. Again, good flow across the palate. Chocolate all day on the finish. It's like chocolate covered currants is what I'm getting on this. Not raisins. We don't want to be confused on that. More the currant side. That is just lingering big time. almost gets kind of brown sugar-ish on the finish. This is one of those wines, and this is, as a wine buyer, wine guy, people depend on me. They come to me, they ask me what they would like to have. I spend a lot of time trying to understand different individuals' palates. This will appeal to some, but not to all. I think the brown sugar kind of ripe fig finish might throw some people off, but I think there's a lot of you out there that will love this wine. I mean, you will adore this wine for 12 bucks. That one, now you see that was a little different on the back end. I get a little bark, get a little rose petal, get a little earth, a lot of currants, chocolate tones, milk chocolate tones underneath. Good flow across the palate. Doesn't quite get as serious on the finish. I'm going to go B plus on that. I think it's a good effort. I think it's a good price. I think a lot of you are going to like it. I think it's well made. B plus. I have to go B plus only because of that little bit of brown sugar sort of figgy component that comes through on the back. Nothing wrong with fig. The brown sugar part just throws me off just a little bit. Maybe some of you will get it, maybe you won't. Yeah. But I'm going to go B plus. Still a very good grade for that wine. Good price. So there you go. Blends. Don't forget Rhone, Roussillon, Minervois, Bordeaux for blends. They might have some restrictions on them, but they're still blends, and those blends are often mimicked in the United States. A lot of people try to do Bordeaux style blends. And these are way off of that with the Merlot Syrah, Cab Syrah thing. But that's what we like. Variety is the spice of life. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate the support. Remember, it's your palate that counts, not mine. Try and figure out my palate and see if it matches yours or wherever you go. Remember, it's always about your palate. You keep watching, and I'll keep helping you spend your wine dollars wisely.